So I have a weird question for you. Do you ever want to pass your turn in chess? Like, for example, let's say I'm playing as white and I don't wish to make the first move. I want black to make the first move. And even now, let's say that okay, I make this move. Then if you were black, would you ever want me to make another move before you make a move? Like, would you not want to play a move? Well, that is not technically allowed in chess. And you might even ask, even if it was allowed, why would I ever do that? Why would I ever, give you a free chance to make two moves in a row or make three moves in a row? Well, sometimes you do want to have that opportunity. You do want to, really pass your turn, but you are bound by the rules of chess. And in such situations is what we call you have come in a Zugzwang. Zugzwang is a German word that literally means that you are forced to make a move that will worsen your position, even though, if given the chance, you would ideally not want to make any move in order to remain in a stable position. Um, I mean, I'm sure you would have faced the situation, but you would not have realized this implicitly. But yeah, we'll see some situations where Zugzwang is very iconic and very beautiful in doing a checkmate. Well, look at the board right now. In this position, it's black to move. And you already can see that black is immediately losing. It has only the square, sorry, yeah, the square to go to. And once he goes there, I'll just come here and there is nothing black can do. I'll make a queen. But if given the chance, if let's say you were the black opponent, and if I allowed you to pass moves whenever you want to, would you not pass this move? Obviously. Like, I can never really force you to get away from here, except for the fact that I can force you to make a move. If I cannot force you to make a move, then there is no possible situation in which I can force your king away from the e8 square. So what I'm trying to say is that let's say it's black's move and black say, okay, I don't want to play, you play. Then you will be in a draw-like situation because there is nothing you can do to kick him out of the e8 square because there is no possible checks, no possible checks on the e8 square. And this is what we call a zugzwang. It is a situation where every move you make is actually worse enough for you. It is bad, but the situation in which you are is decent enough to stay in. But because we do not allow passing by in chess, you have to make the move king to d7. And the moment you make that move, I'll push ahead, and you can't really come on either of these squares, and no matter what he does, I'll eventually make a queen. However, if in this situation I allowed black to make a pass, then white would be moving from here to here, from here to here, and so on, and black would not make a single move. But fortunately, that is not allowed in chess. Now, this might be a very trivial example to understand it, and it is actually, but there are very, really complicated and really beautiful puzzles where Zugzwang is used. Yeah, let's look at this position. It's white to play right now, and you might argue that, okay, black has more pawns than white. Am I correct? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yes, white has only 5 pawns and there are equal number of bishops and you might call this pawn as passed pawn but the king is obviously sitting here. I can't really move away this king. So am I actually winning or is this game a draw, or in fact am I losing the game because I have won this pawn and this pawn looks pretty much free to me except for this bishop controlling the f3 square. Well, on a preliminary basis I thought that was a losing position, but instead it is a winning position. Why? Because like it's white to move right now, and I can make the move king to e6. And why is king to e6 a really good move? Is because now black is forced to make a bad move. Black in this situation is perfectly fine, but the moment it tries to make a move, the situation goes worse. If possible, if allowed, black would easily give me the chance to make another move or do something like that. Black would never, move away from this scenario, but it has to because chess does not allow passing, and that is why this is a situation of a zip pawn. In fact, you can even try. Let's say this pawn moves, I take it, bad move. If this pawn moves, I take it, bad move. This entire diagonal is forced, is protected by one piece behind it. This pawn protected by this, protected by this, protected by the bishop, protected by the king. And I can never force away the king to move out from the f8 square myself. Only possible move that might not look bad initially is a5, but I have a solid reply to a5, and that is bishop to b1. Why? Because now even if he comes here, I can exchange and then block on the b3 square as well, and controlling on the f3 square is still going on. So that is why it is a very ideal situation for white to sit in. And now is when black is in actual zugzwang, because now every move it makes is bad. Let's say it tries to push away his bishop, then I can take on this pawn. Sure, the black king can take on my f7 pawn, but it doesn't really matter. I can, and even if he comes back to give me a check, I'll take on this pawn and then take on this pawn, and you can clearly see that I'm winning now. So this is a really interesting scenario where, four moves before, I could not even comprehend that I was winning. This is a really beautiful Zugzwang puzzle. You are playing as white, and you can obviously see you are a little in trouble. Why? Because your opponent is going to give you a check on g1, and no matter what you do, he's going to make a queen on b1, and you can't really defend your king, because wherever you move away the king, the opponent will maybe take away the rook. The only place to defend your king is to come to h5, but then the opponent will have your rook, and that is why both are bad moves. But wait, I'm not saying that white is in 6-1. I'm saying black is in. Why? Because here comes a very brilliant move. In fact, I want you to take 10 seconds and try to solve this puzzle. To those of you tried, congratulations. It was a really beautiful puzzle to solve. So the correct answer is sacrifice your rook by placing it on g8. Why? Because now here's the plan. King will take on rook. I'll obviously give him the check. That is that's my first thought that came to him. That is the correct thought. Fair. And then the king will go back. But now what happens? I did this, he did this, he went back. Now I do what I initially intended to do, prevent this rook check on g1. And this is an official position of a Zugzwang. Why? Because no matter what move black tries to make, it is a bad move. If he tries to come here, I'll take on this pawn, and it will in fact be a checkmate. He tries to, come to a random square, I'll still take on this pawn. There is no way the rook can defend on b2 without being on b1. But to be on b1, the black has to, pass a move, and passing a move is not allowed in chess. The only hope black has is to maybe make this move, but I can do the same. And this pawn was here just to ensure that I was, in fact, in a winning position. If this pawn was not here, then maybe I was losing. But that's the story of a different time. But yeah, the moment I have made this move, now the opponent can do nothing but make a really bad move, and he can try anything, and that will be in a checkmate. In fact, not a checkmate right now. Then sacrifice your rook and come here. And this is a really beautiful puzzle. And such situations actually arise in games, especially in pawn end games where every pawn is locked with the other, and you are in a situation of no choice. You want to stay there, but you have to make a move. And if you are, let's say you were black, then you would be really crying because you were actually winning and now you are not, and it feels bad. That is it for today, guys. This was a really powerful tool to use in games, probably. If you want to watch more such content, please subscribe to Chess Gaja. And if you want to watch anything in particular, do drop us a comment and we'll make a video on it. Thank you.